Hi, this is Kamera. My first few minutes with God, day number 319, Luke chapter 24, John chapter 20, and chapter 21. Early, very early in the morning of the first day of the week, you had Mary and a couple of the other women who had gone to the tomb to with spices to anoint Jesus's body. When they got there, they saw that the large stone, was rolled away. And when they got inside, they saw two men there, and they asked them, "Why are you looking? What are you looking for? You know, why are you looking for the living amongst the dead?" And so they told him, "He's not here. Remember what he told you, that he was going to rise on the third day." So you had Mary Magdalene. She goes and she tells the disciples, and they pretty much, she told them everything that happened. They pretty much did not believe her. But you had Peter and some other disciples. They ran to find and see what was going on, and they see that Jesus' body is gone. And so you had Jesus. He appeared to a few people. He appeared to Mary Magdalene, asked her why was she crying, and talked to her. You had where Jesus had shown himself to the 11. The 11, one thing about Jesus, he was surprised by the fact that they didn't believe the reports, because he showed himself to two other men, two other disciples. He walked with them, and they didn't realize that was Jesus until he broke bread with them. But then and those disciples, they ran and told the 11. And when they got to the 11, as they were being told, you had Jesus who appeared, showed them his wounds, and he talked with them. There was this other disciple, Thomas, who did not believe Jesus was gone at that time. But a week later, he did show himself to Thomas and showed him all the wounds that he had. So Jesus, he blessed them. He lifted his hands and he blessed his disciples. And they actually watched as he ascended. Isn't that something? So fast forward, Jesus did show himself again. They were out fishing, a few of the disciples, and they noticed Jesus from afar. Jesus asked them about, whether they had caught anything. And then he told them where to fish, throw your net on the right side of the boat. And so when Peter saw that it was Jesus, he put on his tunic and he swam to Jesus, and Jesus told them to bring some of their fish. How about they caught 153 large fish after Jesus had told them to cast their net to the right side of the boat? They had been fishing all night, nothing. But now they get 153 large fish. So they brought some of that fish to shore to be cooked. Jesus had already started, though. He had already started the meal and added theirs to him. And so it's awesome how he addressed Peter. He asked Peter. Peter loved him. Peter was like, "Lord, I know you." He asked him that like 3 times, and each time Peter would tell him, "I love you." And each time Jesus would tell him to feed his flock, feed his flock. He wanted Peter to start that church up. And so Peter kind of felt hurt that Jesus kept asking him, "Do you love me?" And so he told Peter to take care of his sheep. So Jesus lets them know. He says, "I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourselves and went where you wanted. But when you were old, you stretched out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." And so Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. He said to him, "Follow me." And so Peter turned and saw the disciples whom Jesus had loved was following him. This was the one who had leaned back against Jesus at the supper and had said, "Lord, who is going to betray you?" So when Peter saw him, he asked, "What about him?" And so he said a few things about that person. He said a few things. So this right here is the disciple who testifies to all things, who wrote them down. We know that his testimony is true. Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that will be written. So that's amazing. It tells us that these scriptures that we read, the testimonies that we read from the four gospels, is not everything that Jesus had done. They could not write down everything, just a few of some of the things that Jesus had done. But there you have it, guys. That's day number 319, Luke chapter 24, John chapter 20 and 21. You have a God-filled blessed day.